some work with a Broadway singer in his own rock band. We do all the horn arranging for him. So I just think it's so important to, at a young age, to remember, to meet as many people as you can and remember who they are, and develop a routine and a habit of maintaining those relationships.
Because the theater person who's here may someday be a video director. The graphic person who's here may someday be working for a major advertising company, and the musician here may be in a band that becomes famous. And oh, that girl who went to the university, now she's a video director. Wow, she remembers me, and you guys can work together, or know what it takes to make a video. I didn't know anything about, oh yeah, just make a video. Just make that video. To make that little 1-minute video took 3 months. So many little things happen in that video. It took 3 months to make that video. I had no idea, because I'm not a video person, So I would say you guys are at this amazing university, and I'm learning from Rafael and Gustavo Salas about how awesome this place is. So take advantage of all the resources that are here. Just meet different people from different places and network. And about what Rick is saying, I'll give you an example. When I play a concert, look, even if it's a small club, there's a sound guy, right? The sound guy is just doing his job. Maybe he doesn't even like your music, but he's just like, okay, more, yes, less, whatever, But I make sure I learn his name or her name, and I say at the end of the night, oh, thank you, John, or thank you, Susan, thank you, Larry. I remember their name. I remember the name of the bartender who gave us drinks. I remember the name of the person who's collecting the ticket at the door. I say, oh, Jack, thank you so much for collecting our tickets for our concert. We really appreciate your help. And I think, all that energy really helps you, because, it's such a hard world, People want to be treated with respect. And I think if you treat people with that respect, you get that respect back, And it's not obvious. A lot of musicians don't realize that, or any field, Maybe you're a theater person, and there's a guy who's just running lights, Oh, they're just doing the lights, Small job, But man, it's really important, right? If the lighting doesn't work, the whole play or movie is off, So it's really important to remember all the small pieces, and like Rick said, really connect and network and network and network. Every day I'm here in Mexico, I'm trying to make connections, whether it's a jazz club, a new festival, a new promoter, a new venue, a new organization, a new record label. I have a friend in Monterrey, he has a new record label, and he's going to help us to put our EP from Monterrey. We never expected our music is going to be published from Monterrey, Mexico, but we're thrilled because he's going to bring us back to Monterrey, and then he knows people in Toluca, Mexico City, and other places, and he can help us. So just like that, we have another amazing connection from a record label president who can help Tarana in Mexico. So all those connections are really important. So just start making connections and understand what the other person is doing, So that's pretty much what I want to say. I really hope you guys have a lot of questions, because I'm getting tired of talking, So you guys can ask us anything about New York, about music, about anything. So please, this is your chance. Oh, by the way, we're also here at Rafael for workshops tomorrow, and but that he would tell you later. You already told them? Or,
Yeah, just also.
Okay, so yes, questions, opinions, comments, suggestions. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Juan Pablo.
Okay.
And as a music student,
Yes.
how can I organize my time for being good at studying and taking advantage of all the classes and taking advantage of the classes and teachers, and at the same time become this whole package guy, musician, and everything you have to do?
That's a really good question. A very important question, yeah.
Well, I think,
Thank you.
remember to have patience. It takes a lot of time, and you are young.
We're old. I'm an old guy.
And remember, it takes a lot of time, and you can't see somebody, because what happens is sometimes especially in college, you see one person who's maybe like really far ahead of you or doing all these things, and you're like, I need to do that now. And that's the wrong way to be. It's about about being persistent and not giving up and just to keep doing it. And it happens, but it also happens when you're not expecting it to happen. It's a surprise. But yeah, and don't spend so much time on Facebook.
I try to spend some days only thinking about business. Then I know, for example, Monday and Tuesday, I'm only going to think about booking. And then on Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm only going to practice. Sometimes, it gets complicated, but I try to budget my time to make everything separate. So you have a budget. So for example, okay, today I'm going to go see a new concert. So that's your time. Today I have to practice, do my homework. Then on another day you make time for doing something else. And I know, look, it's very difficult to stick to a schedule, but if you have a schedule that you write on a paper, at least you know what you should try to also fit in your schedule. So try doing things like that. I mean, it's always going to change, because the more classes you take, the more your school is getting more difficult, you're going to have more work, but try to find that balance, And I think, like, when I see it on paper, from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock I have to practice. After 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock I have to do this. 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock I have to do this, and then maybe if I finish it, I can go out at night to see a new concert or to go out for dinner or whatever. So, I still make those plans, yeah, so it helps me budget. Believe me, otherwise I'm going to spend all my time just making bookings, only doing bookings, and tour. It drives me crazy, so budget your time and think about how you can make your day more tight, That's a good question. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Yeah.
Well, what would you put first? If you have two options, one of studying things, doing all the stuff of academic work, but in the other hand, you want to get know and start recording your own compositions and stuff like that, and you want to put it on Facebook and all that stuff, or maybe you are now planning to go to a studio and start recording, so you have to practice your songs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what will you choose first?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think you have to do it all. You can't. It's just how it is. And if you think, I'll tell you this: if you think you're busy now because you have school and music, wait until you don't have school and you have life and making money. And I always, when I was in college, somebody used to tell me, take advantage of this time now to learn and to practice and to gain mastery of your instrument, because when you get out of school, you're not going to have that time. And I was like, you've got more time now because you don't have to do. It's just not true. Like you have to develop a strong foundation now. It's really important because it slows you down the entire way throughout your career if you don't have a strong foundation now. That said, you learn a lot every time you record yourself. You learn every time you write a new song. That's all a learning experience too. And every time you do it, probably the next one is going to be even better. So don't think that that one is the best and then you've made it and you've arrived. I think the worst thing to think is especially at a young age, but really at any point, is to think that you've arrived and that you've reached the point where, yes, I have it. It's like we're still working new things out and always trying new things, and so my answer is both.
I want to do another question. Also, how many
I feel like
hours would you sacrifice? I mean, sleep hours. I mean, to do all that stuff.
Right.
I mean, because we need time, right? And sometimes it's maybe kind of late, and you want to sleep, but You haven't finished everything. So what would you put first? I mean, because maybe the next morning you are going to be tired. Maybe you are going to learn. I don't know.
Why didn't you finish your work already? What were you doing before all day
What about if you are only studying and doing and learning new stuff and trying to make new stuff, and you are not really,
And you're not, and you're not really like wasting time. I mean, that you have clear that you can't waste time, and even though you need more time or sleep less.
You have lots of time. You're young. I mean, it's a progression. Like, you have to see the bigger picture. I think what you're explaining to me is almost something that I deal with a lot. Is that I feel like I need to get everything done now, and I start to rush, and I maybe don't do as good a job as I should. And then maybe like a month later, I look back and I see like that's a longer period of time. Don't think in one day. Don't think in 2 days, a week. Think about like your goals over the course of maybe a whole year, what you want to accomplish, and that you might find the time within that whole year. Like maybe you can't find it today or tomorrow or this week, but when you look back on the last year of your life, like, can't you think of a lot of time that was available to you to do something? And I think I always look back and I'm like, wow, why was I trying to do so much so quickly? Why don't I just, slow down just a little bit and really focus in on doing it the right way the first time and not panicking and feeling like, oh, I have to get this done right away, because life is long, and the artistic journey is a long one. And like at this stage, there's so much more in front of you, and so it's important that you keep going and don't get burnt out, really. Because I think people that go and do that, don't sleep ever and all this stuff. A lot of those people that I've known who were like that when they were young, a lot of them burn out and give up. And there's some like very talented people that I knew when they were younger that I was just like, and I was amazed by their talents, and then I know now they're not doing music or art anymore because it was too much. They tried to do too much too quickly.
For me, I knew in college, as soon as I came to college, I knew I was going to engineering school, remember. I went to Carnegie Mellon, which is a top 10 university in the US for engineering. So I went to a very good school, but no music, right? But as soon as I started the second year, I knew I wanted to do music because obviously I had been studying music privately. And something just clicked. I knew I wanted to do this, and I knew I wanted to do this for my whole life. I'm 41 now, and I know that when I'm 60, when I'm 70, when I'm 80, as long as I have my health, I want to be playing music. That's all I want to do. I want to be on tour. I want to be making music. I want to be playing with new people. So I love music. All kinds of music. I just want to be playing music. I want to make sure that I stay healthy, I eat well, all those things become so important. I get enough sleep when I have to sleep. But when I was younger, when I was 24, I came to New York as a civil engineer, right? The question you're asking. I had a job. I was working from 8 in the morning until 5 o'clock in the night. I went home, I changed my clothes, and I went to a club, which is no longer there in New York. And the jam session starts at 1 in the morning, right? At 1 o'clock in the morning, the jam session is starting. The jam session goes from 1 in the morning to 3 in the morning. I come home by 4. I get ready to be back at my work by 8 in the morning. So 4 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep, once a week for a whole year. And I made sure I didn't do it every day. So like what Rick said, I didn't burn myself out. I knew if I did like that every day, I'm gonna get burnt out. I did it once a week. I was only sleeping 3 hours, but it was worth it because I met a lot of great musicians. I met a lot of amazing musicians who now in New York are doing Carnegie Hall and Brooklyn Academy of Music and touring internationally. And I met them all there. And they were, not famous, and they're my friends. So you have to Like, how much do you love music? How much do you love the theater? How much do you love art? Like, and if you say, you wake up in the morning and say, I love this so much, I want to do this for the rest of my life because I'm never going to get bored of it, then you know it's the right thing for you. Because I knew engineering was not the right thing. I worked as an engineer, you know, I was making a bridge, and I thought, man, this is so boring, you know. I made a lot of money. Here's a very important thing. I made a lot of money as an engineer. I was single, not married, and I had a lot of money, but I was very unhappy because I was working 12 hours, 14 hours, and I said, no, I want to be home, practice, you know, play my instrument and learn about music. And one day I went to my boss and I said, I quit. I'm done. And I was like, what? You know, like, I had no plan, no backup, but I knew that if I believe in music, something's going to work out because I know I'm going to find a way to keep my music alive. So I just kept doing that, you know. So you have to do it all, you know. There was a question in the back. Yeah.
I was wondering, I think it's a pretty common belief when you're dedicating to something like this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a theater major, but that you can't balance your personal life with your professional one. And I was wondering, you guys are talking about all these tours and traveling all around the world, which sounds amazing, but how do you manage to balance it out?
I'll answer that.